Which sweet treat meets your eye? We're going to talk about all things cupcake. Which will be your favorite? The history of the cupcake, the commercial side of the cupcake, or crime in cupcake? I've spent many years making cupcakes for events across the states. I have judged cake decorating contests, cake baking contests, and thoroughly enjoy all things cupcake. So first we're going to start with the history of cupcakes. We're going to find out who invented the cupcake and where did it originate. Ellen Amelia King Simmons in 1796 is credited for the invention of the cupcake, according to H.B. Bakery. The cupcake originated in the United States, one of our many claims to fame. So how did it get its name, cupcake? Well, there's two theories. The first theory is that cakes being so difficult to bake in those times because of inconsistency of the oven, they decided to make the cakes in smaller portions. They used them in small bowls, what we would commonly refer to now as a ramekin. So they made them, or they're like a teacup size cake, and bake them in the oven like that. That would avoid scorching or any other issues with the cake. The second theory is that it's because of the recipe. So back at that time, there were several illiterate people and they couldn't read a recipe. So they memorized the recipes. And in order to memorize the recipes, they made them simple. So it was a cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour, so on and so forth. They memorized the recipe, then they would pass it down from friend to friend, family to family. So now we're going to switch over to the commercial side of cupcakes. And everyone knows Hostess cupcakes. In 1919, Hostess bought a factory and began producing what we commonly refer to as the chocolate cupcake. So the one good thing that you see about the Hostess cupcake is everyone loves that nice white strip of icing bedded into the chocolate. And that's one of our favorites. Well, Hostess cupcakes originally did not have that white curlicue on there. It was just a plain chocolate cupcake. It wasn't until 30 years later when Dr. Rice came along and joined the family at Hostess and then added the curlicue to the cupcake. And then we're going to go to the other side of the world to London for Hummingbird Bakery. The cupcake popularity in London, to my surprise, didn't really develop until the 2000s. Apparently they enjoyed cupcakes after watching the show Sex and the City, according to the research I did in Elliott's and Tim's. After they saw the show, people all over flocked to make, eat, consume cupcakes into the millions. Now we're going to move on to my personal favorite, crime in cupcakes. Who would have thought cupcakes could have solved any crime? Well, in 1942, a victim by the name of Carol Dugan Tuttle was taking a walk in the cemetery and was strangled and killed. And there was a police officer close by and saw a light in a distance, went running over and found the woman had died. So quickly, the officers began to comb the area, look for suspects, and try to retrace the steps of Carol. Well, they made their way back to a local bar. But before they went to the bar, they went to talk to the deceased husband. And he said that he had forgiven her for stepping out on him a few weeks prior, and that she was out with some friends and was supposed to be bringing home a box of cupcakes. And they had saw the cupcakes at the scene in the cemetery, and when they got to the bar, they began to question people, and they said, yes, we remember the lady in here. She had a box of cupcakes. She was sitting with this gentleman, James Marlowe. And Mullen was then named as the lead suspect. They went back, found him, interviewed him, case shut within 24 hours, verifying suspect to victim with a box of cupcakes. So now the question would be, looking at all of this, which is your favorite? Is it the history of the cupcake, the commercial cupcake, or crime in cupcakes? That's my personal favorite.